Greetings, brothers and sisters. Got a lot of stories to get to, weird stuff. Just keeps on getting weirder. I might get to a long list of people dropping like flies I haven't covered in a while from the Died Suddenly Instagram page. But let's start here. Another Hollywood celebrities dropping like flies.
They're dropping like flies.
Listen, people are dropping like flies out there.
I am
Boop.
pissed off.
We're dropping like flies around here.
We're dropping like flies here.
Jeez, sir, 2 more just went down. Dropping like flies.
Too many people around here been dropping like flies already, and where's that getting us, huh? Nowhere. Fast.
Biden's being Biden's being extremist.
Crush that fly.
Bellator's Chris Lacani in ICU after suffering cardiac arrest. This guy is a featherweight. Looks relatively young here. I don't know if what it says. He's got to be younger than 30. Looks like he's MMA. He's 28. And so he, I don't know where it happened here. Let me see what it says. Earlier this month. So he's probably in training. He has to stay physically active to do this kind of job, right? And, another athlete whose heart stopped. Meghan Markle faked podcast interviews. Her voice was added later. Just after Spotify breakup with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, a new report alleges that Markle's interviews for Archetypes podcast were not conducted by her. That some of the show's interviews were done by members of the Duchess's staff, and audio of her voice asking the questions was clipped in later. Wow, look at how quickly she's become that entitled, right? And so that means that she went from being sort of a B-level actress on I've seen her in a few movies. She was in a couple of episodes of the Fringe show, but she's not really a well-known actress, right? She wasn't a star of some big movie or TV show. And she ends up marrying Prince Harry, who's a second-tier prince, right? Part of the royal family, but not, he's the spare, And instead of being able to, she used to do crappy Hollywood jobs. And she probably would have liked to do one of these podcasts, doing what she, being who she is, like someone like Hilaria Baldwin, these other, not so famous, slightly famous people who can make a living doing a podcast. And she's become so entitled, she won't even interview famous people and people for a show that she's getting $20 million a year for. The show failed, and now they're dumping on her, right, for her lack of effort. I mean, just think about that. How entitled people get. Congressional candidate Richard Rowe unexpectedly dies after bragging about his boop status on social media and making fun of Darwin anti-boop. So apparently he was out there making fun of people who were against this thing, and he ended up dying suddenly. Billionaire Bill Ackman joins Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and Robert Kennedy in calling for a boop, boop. It's kind of like a broken boop. Boop debate, though he's not an anti-booper. So this guy, has joined all these people who want to see Robert Kennedy Jr. I got something on him on my other toolbar where they're trying to claim that his position on the boop is torpedoing his candidacy. Of course they would. And so a bunch of stuff was sent to me, weird things. First, this one. So it looks like an eagle or some sort of bird of prey. See translation. They don't tell you what kind of bird it is. But a bird hits a small plane, and the dude is covered in blood. It went through the windshield, and there he is. So that happened. The same person sent me this. Here's a grizzly bear, a huge grizzly bear, climbing up this massive tree to get to an osprey nest. They don't show you whether he does it or not, so he gets up higher and higher, and then they cut off the thing when he gets pretty close here. So we don't know if he made it. That's a long way to go for a couple of eggs. I don't know. Ospreys are pretty big birds, but they're not much bigger than chickens. So, but this bear's into it. Oh, so this was interesting from Eddie Murphy.
Bush and Perot, do you see anybody you have an interest in voting for?
Hey, man, I say my prayers, and I'm a spiritual person. And I'm going to let God settle all this craziness and all this.
But we can't all do that, Eddie.
Yeah, but that's what I'm doing, man. You know, I mean, that's what I'm doing.
So this is from 1992, and it gets interesting what Eddie Murphy says here because it's like truther stuff. It was when Bush and Clinton and Ross Perot all ran for president, and Clinton won because Ross Perot sort of took away from, I don't know, or it was rigged and fake. But Arsenio Hall says we couldn't all do that in terms of not voting, and why not, right? It wouldn't make a difference if we all voted or not. Like if every person in America didn't vote, it wouldn't make a difference. I mean, it wouldn't, voting doesn't really do anything in terms of keeping the system going. It gives people the belief that they have some say in their government. It keeps them distracted and rooting for, political races and contests just like sports and things does. But if nobody voted, the system wouldn't collapse. I mean, there would still be something, some sort of a government, right? So, I'm saying we all can't do that. And not everyone's going to do that. So these are stupid points. You cannot vote, right? If you choose not to vote, it's totally acceptable. And for me, it's the right thing to do.
I think it's a higher power than all of it. I think it's a higher power than government. I think it's a higher power than all of those things. And I've been let down personally. You feel let down, and you feel like you're a victim. I've had all that stuff in my life, And I'm down with that higher power. That's who I give my vote.
But isn't that kind of like being a slave on the plantation and just singing and saying, Lord will make a way?
How you figure?
Just sing. And like, Lord will make a way instead of whipping some ass for voting.
But what's that going to accomplish by whipping some ass and voting?
It will accomplish more than just praying. I think prayer must be accompanied by some kind of action.
Oh, but see, that's if you feel that the government is doing things for you. You feel like the government is helping you out and doing things for you and has your best interest in hand.
That's why I'm going to vote, because I believe.
But have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt?
I'll just keep voting until I find somebody who has my interest in hand.
Wait now. But who's tripping then? If you just going down in the booth and pulling this lever, and I'm singing, who's tripping? Who's to say what happens when you go pull a lever and they say, oh yeah, we counted the votes and there's this and who knows what goes on, man?
I know, but
have nothing. Hey, Chief, you have nothing to do with any of it. Any of it. There's some cats that run this thing. I'm not doing this, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, he's crazy, and rock the vote and all that. There are a bunch of cats that run this planet, and they just wait on the higher power to handle things. I mean, read your Bible. I read Revelations, they ain't say nothing about, thou shalt rock the vote.
So rocking the vote was a MTV thing that they did to get young people to vote. They always have something, and young people don't vote, right? But he was saying there are cats that run the system, people, very much like the controller. So this is a a truther video. And Eddie Murphy, this was when he was basically the number one movie star at the time, right? So number one comedian and number one movie star. And so, he would know. So this was sent to me on the same day they're playing the music there. But another British soldier, one of these guys at some whatever goofy rituals and ceremonies they have, is dropping like flies. Oftentimes you just ignore them. I mean, how many times have somebody sent me something like this? At the new king's coronation, there were like 4 or 5 soldiers that dropped. Public art in 1762. Public art in 2014. I think my wife sent me this. It speaks for itself.
Switch of whose music they want to plug in and listen to on the way to school, and North was listening to Ice Spice. And I didn't know who that was at the time. And I was like, this is the moment where I feel really old, where my daughter is now teaching me what's cool.
Well, you are old because you're 40. You're in the back half of your life. But the Kardashians have never been cool. Kim Kardashian has never been cool. What she thinks is cool is what I would call as being trendy. Like, she likes whatever's trending, right? They don't really make up their own minds about, I mean, maybe they have some, I don't know about the fashion stuff, but they just do what other people say is cool, right? He's a trendsetter. Whether his trends are good or not, he is somebody who is, he's got a visionary artistic personality. Where the Kardashians just, they're brats, living bratz dolls that just, look at everybody else. There's people who set trends and there are people who follow trends. And they are followers, right? And she's even following her daughter. Like, when you get older and you lose touch with what the young people are doing, then you can either, embrace your era, or you can start being like Madam Expiration Date and trying to be like the young people are now. Except you're not. You're old, right? So it just looks really weird and it's not appropriate.
I then had the idea to put her in a Skims campaign. So that all came through North and what she liked. I think it's always tough when you're co-parenting and someone wants something and someone doesn't. I would say the Ice Spice videos, she said, Mommy, can I post this? I was out of town, so I had my nanny was there and allowed it. And then as soon as I saw the words and everything, I was like, oh, no, we're taking this down. She was totally understood. So I think that's the trial and error sometimes. And and then I saw on the internet, it's like, Kanye was right, and maybe he was,
Yeah, he definitely was, because you took the videos down. Like, don't say maybe he was, because you yourself are saying that they're inappropriate, and that's what he said. And so you're agreeing with him, and you're like, no, I can't. Once I realized what the lyrics were, I realized it was inappropriate, and a number of people sent me this. I wasn't going to cover it, but, it's there.
In that instance. But in the creative side, where she loves making slime videos and doing her little hair tutorials, I will fight for her to be creative in those ways. So it's always a compromise. No one's always going to agree. And you just have to do the best that you can as a parent to try to protect your kids, but also let them be creative.
I was going to do my Kim Kardashian impersonation, but I'm just drained, like this thing sucked the life out of me. I've watched it twice now. And so why is anybody listening to her on parenting advice? They should listen to this guy, maybe.
Luang Po Yai, who was a 109-year-old Buddhist monk. Videos of him went viral on social media last year after his granddaughter started posting videos of him during his recovery after an accident.
Holy boop! Look at this ghoulish MNFer, right? I mean, what kind of life is this? He's a human skeleton. Like, he is. I mean, this is as ghoulish as you can get. My dad, he was always, overweight. He had what he called a labanza, which was a big, beer belly. And when I saw him towards the end of his life, he had all these various digestive issues, and he really couldn't eat anymore, and he was basically wasn't probably processing his food. And he looked like a skeleton. Not as bad as this. And not nearly as bad. But I was shocked when I went to see him. because he wasn't what I remembered as my dad, right? And all the things he loved, he couldn't do anymore. He couldn't see, and he couldn't, it was just like he had no reason for living, right? Just scared to death. And I mean, it's what the modern medical system does to you, right?
He did have various health issues such as hearing and visual problems. He also wasn't able to speak very well, but even with all of those issues, we can see that he still showed love to his family. Everyone thought the videos of him were fake, but nope. He was born back in 1913 and unfortunately passed away in March 2022.
Did you just say unfortunately? You have the balls to say he unfortunately passed away? He should have been dead 20 years ago. He's a skeleton. He's a living skeleton. Like, he has skin tightly wrapped around his bones. I mean, he's, freaking everybody out. I mean, what kind of life is it? It's like a curse. It's not a life. He died too young. He should have lived another 10 years as a skeleton. Okay, so I showed you this video before. It was a poorer quality video. And they're getting ready to go here. Okay, the guy's saying, all right, begin fighting. And this guy just bum rushes her and knocks her flat and, like, is going to kill her. They pull him off her, and she's getting up like she still wants to fight. She's been trained as a Marine to be like that, right? But, she had no chance, right? Because of physical superiority. And of course, that was a small guy in weight class, like it was a small man, that was outweighed by 100 pounds, which happens, right? There's going to be smaller Marines. They're going to get crushed, but invariably women will always be crushed in this situation. Unless there's like some super athlete, some MMA trained by whatever, right? It's just, it's just not fair based in the physical advantages that men have. And it's not always that case. I talk about there's many species of animals where the female is physically superior and in some cases eats the male, like praying mantises and spiders that eat the male after mating and things like this. Sometimes the females are bigger and stronger, but that's not the case in humans. So I rewatched the movie I, Tonya over a series of nights. My wife and I had watched it some time ago. And I don't know why I saw it was on, and I recorded it, and, it was interesting. But the thing I found most interesting in watching it again, like there's truther stuff in it. But look at the date here when Nancy Kerrigan was attacked, right? Nancy Kerrigan was attacked, raw footage, January, boop, of 1994. So that epic attack that happened on a very significant date. This was a big story. It was, eventually eclipsed by OJ. But before OJ, this was OJ. Like, there's a time that Tonya Harding was one of the most famous people in the world. So Nancy Kerrigan here is doing a little skating, practicing, and then she comes off the ice. This is the big day, her most famous day, and then she's taking off her skates, putting that thing over her skates, and then walking back to get whacked here. She's going to get whacked with a metal rod.
Why?
Seems like she's fake crying, like there's no tears. And it seems like it's fake, right? It doesn't feel like she's really crying.
I don't know, some hard black stick. Something really, really hard.
It doesn't seem real, right? Like I covered this before, maybe when I first watched this video, the movie, 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe some of you guys might remember it, very few. I don't remember it, but I remember I covered this, and I thought it was fake then, because it is. Like, it's just not real crying. Help me. She's just... Very weird. The whole story was weird. This is weird. And, it happened on January, boop, in 1994. Okay, so this is from NEOM. I don't know what it is. Not going to look into it. What a line is. I know what a line is.
For too long, humanity has existed within dysfunctional and polluted cities that ignore nature.
Okay. So you're going to get rid of cities. That would be a good thing, because cities don't work for people.
Now, a revolution in civilization is taking place.
Kaboom! The end of cities. Okay, good.
Imagine a traditional city and consolidating its footprint.
Uh-oh. This isn't getting rid of cities. This is Agenda 31 stuff.
Designing to protect and enhance nature. The line will be home to 9 million residents.
9 million residents.
And will be built with a footprint of just 34 square kilometers.
It's the line. Look, it's the line. It's walls on either side. It frees up all this open land that you can't access because you're stuck in this.
And we are designing it to provide a healthier, more sustainable quality of life.
You are. You're designing that for that.
It
looks kind of crowded.
Line's communities are organized in 3 dimensions.
3-dimensional communities.
Residents have access to all their daily needs.
Except for sunlight.
Within 5-minute walk neighborhoods.
You know, except for sunlight and fresh air.
And the line's infrastructure makes it possible to travel end to end in 20 minutes.
You can go one end to the other in just 20 minutes.
With no need for cars.
You don't need any cars anymore.
In
zero carbon emissions. They get rid of all carbon emissions.
No carbon emissions.
Kaboom.
By leveraging AI technology, services are autonomous.
They're going to be AI. What could go wrong? AI is going to be involved.
Saving you time and effort. Designed by world-leading architects, the line is 500 meters tall.
Oh, geez. Okay, so it's taller than the Empire State Building. So they're building it up, right? Taller than the Eiffel Tower.
200 meters wide. 170 kilometers long.
Kaboom.
And housed within an elegant mirror glass facade.
Exactly. Mirror glass. You can see out. But they won't, it'll be a mirror for everybody else.
Intelligent solutions create efficiency and year-round temperate microclimate with natural ventilation. Energy and water supplies are 100% renewable.
Sounds like utopia.
The line is designed as a series of unique communities, offering a wealth of amenities, providing equitable views and immediate access to the surrounding nature.
Yeah, like you can get a day pass to go out to these parts of the, where you used to be able to just drive out there or live out there. Now you get like a day pass if your credit score is okay.
With
your social credit score.
40% of the world accessible within 6 hours at the heart of the globe's key trade routes, a place for commerce and communities to thrive like
no one time before seen on planet Earth. So if you Google mammals that live in colonies, and it says here that animals such as humans and rodents form breeding or nesting colonies, potentially for more successful mating and to better protect offspring. The Bracken Cave in the summer home to a colony of 200 million Mexican free-tailed bats, making it the largest known. Okay, so this is a city, but for the bats, they only come there for the summer, and that's to do with food sources and available places to live, right? So they're saying 20 million bats form a colony, but it's not a real colony, right? It's not a beehive. Insects are in colonies. Mammals are not. And so when they're talking about rats and mice and things that form colonies, it's a small amount, right? It's not, millions. It's not even tens of thousands. And so they're small city-like environments for mice, whereas, ant colonies, bee colonies, these types of things, insects, are the animals that most live in colonies. And human beings, in terms of cities, right, where there's a large population of a certain species, people that live in cities. And it's unnatural. Mammals don't live in colonies in that way, right? And the ones that do, I mean, the bats in a cave, sure. A cave is a very specific type of a situation where bats, bats often inhabit caves. And that's, again, only a summer home. It's not something that they built or created. It's available space for them, right? And it's a massive cave. It's a massive, they have these various caves that are just large and, but it's very specific to an animal that doesn't need to be able to see because of echolocation. But in terms of animals and mammals, there just isn't a city environment that's built the way that human build cities. Human beings were made to live in village-based tribal type of situations. Small village-based tribes. It's not, families and extended families. Small. The history of humanity, cities are a new thing. And they're short-lived. Because of the diseases, the pollution, the mental illness. Because we're not meant to live there. And making the cities into some, Agenda 31, it's just not going to happen. It's their desire to do that, but it's just not going to happen. And so then there was this. Man discovers bioluminescence while exploring creek.
It's like something out of Avatar.
So he found this ground that lights up when he walks on it. Russia accuses U.S. of planning to drop malaria-bearing mosquitoes on troops. A senior Kremlin official bizarrely accused the U.S. of preparing drones that will target Russian troops by dropping malaria-carrying mosquitoes onto the soldiers. Well, that's a weird accusation, and I guess this is potentially possible.
Artificial intelligence taking over a call center in Portland. This is
Kaboom.
the call center, the 911 service. The city is using an AI system to answer non-emergency phone calls. Now, the system, called Case Service Reporting, is providing the company that manages this city's computer-aided dispatch system and how it works. An automated attendant that will answer the phone based on the answers using AI. It will determine what the caller needs, and it will speak to the actual caller and respond. The system has been working since at least 2021 and has responded to slow call times to 911. Now, if you're saying to yourself,
yeah, that'd be great to have your 911 operator be AI.
Which a lot of people probably are saying to themselves, I don't think that I would be comfortable with an AI computer.
So this dude's wearing a suit, but this dude is doing the Fetterman, right?
Now, if you think that, no, I could not get help from an AI computer, it would be great if, there we go, a computer-generated person, I would know the difference. Just listen to Ashley for a second. Listen to Ashley.
Let's listen to Ashley.
It's AI Ashley calling our first Taylor Swift winner. Hello? Hey there. Who's this? It's AI Ashley from Live 95.5.
It's AI Ashley. I'm Ashley, but I'm AI.
What's your name?
This is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. Where are you from?
Salem, Oregon.
Do you have any idea why I might be calling you today?
You want to kill me and Stepford Wise take over my life?
The only thing I can think of is Taylor Swift.
Did you text in to win the tickets?
Yes.
It looks like you got every keyword on Friday.
I tried really hard.
Well, that's why I'm calling today.
Stop it.
Lisa, you won.
Yeah, AI Ashley is not a person. This Oregon radio station's making history as the first artificial intelligent DJ hits the airwaves. Her name is AI Ashley. She sounds almost identical to the real Ashley she is based.
Wait, there's a real Ashley she's based on a real Ashley. And so
the real Ashley is now sharing her duties with this AI system so she can multitask like.
Okay, so real Ashley is sharing her duties with AI Ashley until real Ashley becomes expendable or, non-essential or just useless. Because AI Ashley seemed to do a pretty good job of figuring out the right questions and answers. and it sounded like they were actually having a conversation as opposed to automated responses that are, pre-recorded. And so it begins, right? The conspiracy candidate, what RFK Jr.'s anti-boop. Look, the rooster's right here. He's pictured right next to a rooster. Right? Rooster, rooster, rooster. The conspiracy candidate, what RFK Jr.'s anti-boop crusade could look like in the White House. Robert Kennedy Jr. is a conspiracy theorist running for president as a Democrat. Experts fear his anti-boop activism threatens public health in America. Robert Kennedy Jr. stands at the edge of a cliff while 3 dogs sit at attention waiting for a treat from his pocket. It's gray and spitting rain, and Kennedy, a scion of America's most famous political family, challenger in the Democratic presidential primary, and one of the foremost conspiracy theorists, world's foremost conspiracy theorist, is partway up a 3-mile trail in the Mandeville Canyon, a hike he makes every morning with his 2 Gordon setters and 1-year-old German short-haired pointer. Where is the point of this thing? So there's a bunch of stuff about him and his dogs. Gives the dogs a couple of treats. Okay, where is the essence of this article? He's still talking about his dogs. He disappeared from most networks and news organizations years ago when his anti-boop activism became unpalatable to most Americans. His paranoia and anti-boop proselytizing during the pandemic only made him more of a para, but since he announced in April that he's running for president, the networks have come up calling, and he's reinstated on Instaghoul after 2021 ban for spreading misinformation. And so, this is the guy. I guess this is the truther that they're putting in there. I don't know. The original title of the article was, and maybe I have it here, maybe it's a different article. We'll see. But it said that he won't stop talking about this one subject, and it's hurting his campaign. But I don't think that that's the case, right? I think it's helping his campaign, and they don't want to admit it. Okay, so here are some polling numbers. Biden at 62%, Kennedy at 14%, and then Kennedy here and Williamson at 14%. Kennedy is a plus 20. Biden's a plus... Oh, Kennedy versus Williamson. Kennedy is a plus 20. And so Biden is he's got a significant lead over Kennedy. Kennedy has 15% of the vote in these polls. And Biden, and here Kennedy has 18% of the vote. And so the thing about this is that Biden was polling at just 20% of the vote amongst a slew of candidates throughout the Democratic primary. He never really was up higher than 20-25%. And he, ended up losing the first 2 primaries. And so Biden, wasn't a shoo-in, and he wasn't polling at a high percentage. Now he's a sitting president, right? But saying he's 62% is, that's not so great for Democrats, right? This is 62% for Democrats. That means he's, just he isn't getting it done. And so, it's not as a slam dunk as people think, because they haven't debated. There hasn't been any contest, right? And Biden isn't going to debate. They're going to ignore Kennedy like he doesn't exist, even if he polls 25-30%. And, he just has to win New Hampshire or Iowa, and then all of a sudden it's a race, right? he wins a couple early primaries, he might win in South Carolina, some of these other places. Who knows? His health might collapse. I mean, it wouldn't take much for Kennedy to end up getting the nomination. YouTube removes video of Robert F. Kennedy and Jordan Peterson for misinformation. And he's an anti-boop crusader seeking support for Democratic presidential run. There was a title in one of these articles that said that he, have a chance if he just stopped talking about the boop. The boop! Jack Dorsey shares Robert F. Kennedy Jr. video echoing conspiracy theories. Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter and head of Block Inc., has previously supported unconventional Democratic candidates. And so, it isn't out of reason that Kennedy could win. They're going to try to rig it, obviously. I don't know what Kennedy's role, and I don't know if how much, I assume he's owned as much as these other guys, but, they certainly don't want Kennedy running against Trump. Like, or DeSantis or something like that. I mean, that would be a disaster for them. So we'll see, right? Jack Dorsey, the head of Block Inc. and co-founder of Twitter, posted 2 videos in the past week featuring presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has attracted criticism and also praise. I mean, there's lots of people who love him and support him because of this. Not just criticism, MSNBC, you disgusting shill-based, for his history of sharing unsubstantiated conspiracy theories about boop. Kennedy has also discussed conspiracy theories about the killing of then-President J.F. Kennedy and his father. Conspiracy theories. It's pretty much known, over 50% of the people believe the official story is BS. It's not come on. Unsubstantiated. Yeah, the official liars don't endorse that theory. Not that I need to say this, but I'll say it anyway. When you have something that needs scientific proof, or there's an investigation of something, or there's, some controversy determining what the truth is, and there's an organization, corporation, or a series of corporations that represent a business model, and that business model has a stake in the outcome, a financial stake, like say, pharmaceutical companies, for example. And the outcome of whatever they're trying to prove or disprove, they have a financial stake in it. And they do the research. They have a bias, a financial bias. Their whole industry depends on this financial bias. And they become the arbiters of truth. The business, right? The business that, has a stake in what the truth is, or what they call the truth, right? When, for example, when Fauci was interviewed by Jennifer Gardner, and she asked him, what about elderberry syrup or elderberry as a way to prevent, illness and particularly COVID? And he dismissed it and said it has no basis, but he's, pharmaceutical shill, right? It's like when governmental officials investigate themselves, the government isn't going to investigate itself unbiasedly, or a person isn't going to investigate themselves in a way that's fair, right? And so when this becomes fact, when they're saying, all right, this is factual, the data that we have from our scientific team that's paid for by the organizations that are, financially benefiting from the results, well, it's you can't call that facts, right? It's completely biased. You can't call that science either, because, when you pay scientists, when a corporation pays scientists, and their financial stake, their financial future is based on what the scientists end up saying, right? Discovering the results of the scientific data, they're going to, the science is going to be biased. Everyone knows that, right? And so when you have this so-called official story, and you're going to suppress people's ability to express a different opinion, even if they're, scientists and doctors and things. You're going to deplatform them and ban them, which is what's happened on these platforms, right? I was talking about this a little bit yesterday on my, I have another video, like a bonus video about YouTube and Google and these things. But with the age of information, there is the official story, and the official story has taken a beating, because of social media and all these other, these platforms and things. People's ability to express themselves. And they're clinging on to it for dear life, right? Where they're coming up with these articles and saying things like what they're saying here. And there's, and they're banning people and saying, oh, that's just a crazy conspiracy theorist. Well, based in the, what you consider the facts, which is coming to us paid by these, these companies, in this case, pharmaceutical companies, that have a financial stake in the outcome of the, this scientific research, right? And it's just ridiculous. I mean, at this point in our existence, there needs to be a broader understanding of truth, right? You can't just say, oh, the official government, the official media, and the official, corporate, whatever it is, and scientific community get to be arbiters of truth. This is why I've talked about science is the new religion. Like, it used to be whatever religious leader said was the truth. And we know how that went, right? We know how that was like, and especially in the olden days, where they would burn people at the stake and call them, whatever, blasphemers and witches, because they, did things that the church deemed demonic or devilish, based in the church's own self-interest, right? We saw this happen. It's happened for centuries, and now it's the religion of science where they get to tell you what the truth is, but the science is just as bogus, it's not real science, as religion was, right? And so now we have the religion of science. Shawn Mendes performs live for the first time since taking mental health hiatus. He had physical breakdown and then a mental health breakdown, I think probably about a year ago. And he canceled his tour, and then now he's, performing again. One of Pakistan's richest businessmen and sons among missing in Titanic sub. This has been a huge story. I put this up 2 or 3 days ago, and I decided I wasn't going to cover this, but I might as well mention it here. They're looking for a sub for people looking for Titanic. So, Ozempic users sparks spike in ER visits, shocking new side effects.
If you're in pain, if you're throwing up with it, go get your lipase levels checked and just watch your body, because it was killing my pancreas, which in the end would have killed me.
Or you could just stop taking it, right? Like, why are you taking this? Like, everybody knows. I mean, pretty much everyone should know that this drug is a disaster. I know, and I barely know anything. I was late to the party. And only because they started covering it here in New York Post and other places, I even know about it. And come on, why would you be using this? Kelly Osbourne blasts whining Prince Harry in explosive rant. Suck it. Your family, your parents are two of the biggest whiners, especially your mom, right? Ireland Baldwin shares new photos of baby daughter Holland. Now, here she is, and the reason I'm posting this is she's scared of her own heartbeat. When she hears her heartbeat, or she's constantly thinking she's going to have a heart attack, she carries around various, monitoring devices, and she drinks coffee, which sends her into panic attacks and freaks her out even more. She's psychologically unstable, and now she has a kid. Amanda Bynes placed on psychiatrist's hold for the second time this year after being detained by cops. She isn't doing very well, Amanda Bynes. There she is being handcuffed and brought to a psych ward. And so, Russell Simmons' daughters with Kimora Lee rip into him on Father's Day. Kimora Lee Simmons shared a muted video of Russell Simmons, here it is, yelling down to them on Father's Day. Here he goes. And there she is there. So that happened. Kimora Lee Simmons. And so she says this here. Russell Simmons' daughters with ex-wife Kimora Lee Simmons are ripping into him via social media. The ex's eldest, 23-year-old Ming, took to Instagram story Sunday to wish her mother a happy Father's Day, which seemed to set Russell off. Well, you know, it's kind of disrespectful, right? I mean, you all got Run DMC money, right? You're all living high on the hog on his Run DMC money. Taking to his Instagram story, the Def Jam recorder co-founder shared an image of the side. Stop telling fathers they should have fought harder to see their children and start asking mothers why they had to fight it all. That must be the mom, Kimora Lee, and those are the two daughters, and they don't look like they're lazy. You know, they have those Kardashian-like expressions and whatever's happening there. Days of Our Lives actor Cody Longo's cause of death revealed. The 34-year-old died from years of excessive drinking, according to Travis County medical examining officer in Austin. So he's 34, and he died, cited chronic ethanol abuse. Okay, so did he have a heart attack? Did his liver fail? You know, what was the actual cause of death? The document revealed Longo's body was already decomposing when he was found dead at his home in February, surrounded by alcohol bottles. He died of alcohol poisoning? Did he drink so much he died from the alcohol itself? And did something fail? Was there organ failure? Was there a heart attack? Johnny Depp is back on stage with Hollywood vampires in a cast after fracturing ankle. Well, good, because that guy is one hell of a guitarist, and we wouldn't want to see him hampered by not being able to, contribute to the music community because of a broken ankle. Suspect allegedly saying he threw phone at BB Rexha for troubling reason. The concert goer accused of knocking down singer BB Rexha with a cell phone throw said he did it because he thought it would be funny. According to prosecutors, BB Rexha confirmed she's resuming tour after concert goer attack causes black eye. There's somewhere there's a picture here. There's the black eye there. She got hit right there in the face. There maybe was another photo here. I don't know. Anyways, former Steelers linebacker Clark Haggans dies at 46. Another former football, NFL player, former athlete died here. It doesn't say why. But I'm guessing heart-related reasons. Danielle Fisher, creepy male boy meets world exec, kept calendar pic of me at 16. So that's weird. She says here, I had a male executive. I did a calendar shoot at age 16. He specifically told me he had a certain calendar month in his bedroom. Because Hollywood's creepy. Okay, so that's a real long video. I have eaten 2 meals and taken a nap. So I don't even remember how this video started, but they just seem to be getting weirder and weirder. I think the last Hollywood dropping like flies stuff, I'm covering long subject matter things, like I did a video, like an hour-long video on basically Trump and Trump supporters on my other channel, so I'm getting all this other stuff I'm throwing into this video for these videos, and it just keeps on getting weirder. Anyways, there'll be more in a couple of days. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.